Hello and welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. Today's first video of two is going to be a preview of Celtic's vital game away from home in sunny Dundee on Sunday. Going to do a wee chat regarding the stats, predicted lineup, covering a wee also what the results of our own channel's online polls were for two of the positions which are up for debate, and also a wee score prediction and team prediction as well. So before we crack on with the video, please, if you are new to the channel and you enjoy this video, please do click that subscribe button. Getting things pushing up to 500 would be a brilliant achievement to get over the next few weeks for the channel, move us up to a level 2 YouTube channel. And for all those who like the video, please do click the like button, help with analytics and spreading the good word regarding Celtic and the David67 channel. And finally, do feel free to pop your pleasant, polite, constructive, informative comments into the comment section regarding Celtic issues, the team, and the game ahead. So, Celtic play Dundee, the first game of our last five post-match, post-split fixtures. We'll be playing just after Rangers have played and finished their game against St Mirren. I think either way is very important for Celtic to at least maintain their 3-point lead, and if Rangers do slip up against St Mirren, which is perfectly possible, to cash in on that, unlike what we did when Rangers slipped up against Motherwell and then we failed to take advantage of that the following day against Hearts, although there were other factors in that game. So kick-off will be at 3 o'clock on Sunday. Game is live on Sky Sports. And looking at the forecast for Sunday in Dundee, it's forecasting sunshine off and on throughout the day, and there's no rain forecast in Dundee on Friday, Saturday or Sunday. And according to reports, the pitch at Dens Park is perfectly dried out, and there should be no concerns regarding the game being postponed or the pitch being wet or substandard. Now, a few wee stats regarding Celtic and Dundee. In the last 10 games that Celtic have played Dundee, we have 9 wins and 1 draw. We have an unbeaten run of 42, spread over 23 years against Dundee. Over that time, we've had 36 wins, 6 draws, and the last time that Dundee beat us was in 2001, so a long, long time ago. And over that time, for the last 10 games, Celtic have 35 goals for, 5 goals against, with 7 clean sheets in the last 10 matches against Dundee. And of course, our most recent game against Dundee was the 7-1 win when we were 6-0 up by half time, and then kind of coasted in the second half, scoring just 1 goal and resting Callum McGregor, who then was out for a few games with his Achilles tendon and heel problem, and also gave time for a few of the backup players and Daniel Kelly to get some game time. So hopefully we can have something approaching the 7-1 win, or at the very least a carbon copy of the 3-0 win we had away from home on Boxing Day at Dundee, a game where Celtic were on top, in control of the game, took a bit of time to score the goal initially through Paulo Bernardo, and then late on Mikey Johnston miraculously added goals 2 and 3. And a few days later, he was off to West Brom, where he's been a big success. So this is going to be my predicted lineup. We'll also, during that time, have a wee chat about what you yourselves thought and voted for in terms of which player should play alongside Cameron Carter-Vickers and which player should line up wide on the left. But this is my suggested 11 for the game against Dundee. So in goals, obviously, Joe Hart. Right back, Alistair Johnston. Left back, Greg Taylor. Cameron Carter-Vickers at right centre-back. And I've personally gone for Mike Nawrocki at left centre-back. I have a horrible feeling that Rodgers, yet again, is going to go for Liam Scales, despite the fact that the last 3 or 4 games he's been quite a liability. It was, for me, quite a contrast to see after a slightly shaky first 5-10 minutes against St Mirren. Celtic looked extremely strong at the back with a back four of Johnson, Taylor, Carter-Vickers and Nawrocki. Then we go into the game against Aberdeen on last Saturday in the Cup, and we look rather disorganised, shaky. Carter-Vickers and Scales not really partnering up very well. Scales and Taylor not partnering up very well on the left. Quite often Scales being caught out of position. Quite often Scales getting into Carter-Vickers' way. Scales, much more often than not, was beaten by Majowski throughout the game. And of course, what Scales, for me and for the majority of you, Scales was very largely to blame for goals 2 and 3. Both times he let the back post attacker free, completely out of position, caught under the ball, very poor ability jumping in the air to get to the ball to knock it away. So poor marking, poor position sense, poor speed, and poor heading ability, all wrapped up into one. And was it not for some good luck with the penalty kicks and some very good penalty kicks taken by our players, we would have lost the Cup semi-final. And for me, the blame very largely would have lied with Liam Scales. Now, looking at our own community channel poll, 60% of you went for Mike Nawrocki beside Carter-Vickers, 22% Liam Scales, 9% Gustav Lagerbielke, and 8% Stephen Welsh. So it does appear that very significantly we are asking Rodgers to play Mike Nawrocki. Hopefully Mike Nawrocki gets to the next 6 matches. Celtic shore things up in the defence and have a successful last 6 games towards the league and cup double at the end of May. Moving into midfield, I think the extra week of training should have Callum McGregor fully back to full fitness, and so he starts in the number 6 role. And on left centre, we've got Matt O'Reilly, and right centre, Rio Hatate. And I think that midfield 3 are going to be very important in terms of taking control of the game, getting the ball forward to the striker and out wide to the wide players. On the right, we're going to go for Nicholas Kuhn. I think he has, over the last few games, had mostly good performances. He, of course, scored the first goal against Aberdeen on Saturday. He played well, I thought, for a good hour or so. As often seems to be the case with Kuhn, he kind of lost his energy late in the game and got subbed. Now, in the community sanction poll, in terms of who to line up on the left side of the front 3, the most popular choice was James Forrest at 52%, then Kyogo playing off the left as a left-sided forward player, that came in at 24%, Lewis Palmer at 22%, and 2% of you went for Yang on the left, which would be a continuation of the last couple of games. On the left, I've gone for Luis Palma. I think he is the best of our left-sided front players in the absence of Dyson Maida. Now, Luis Palma had, I thought, a very good start to his Celtic career. Going into the winter break, he was third for goals and second for assists in the team. He, of course, scored a couple of very important Champions League goals and contributed a few goals with long shots, a few goals with penalty kicks, and a few goals coming in at the back post to score as inside forward. And I think his contribution in the first half of the season was equally important, as was Matt O'Reilly, who was top for goals and top for assists in that period. A bit like O'Reilly, Lewis Palmer's second half of the season has been disappointing. He's been kind of in and out of the team. He seems to have had a few fitness issues and then had a month or so out through injury, and does seem to be struggling to regain his place in the team. I think Palmer is the best placed player to start for us, with James Forrest coming off the bench and potentially Yang coming off the bench on the other side in replacement for Nicholas Kuhn. Up front, I'm going to go for Kyogo. I think there's quite a demand for Adam Ida starting in preference to Kyogo. I think Kyogo is the better scorer, the better finisher, and the better team player. And Adam Ida has been particularly successful for Celtic, coming off the bench with 4 of his 7 Celtic goals being as a sub. And certainly his impact against Motherwell and Rangers and Aberdeen has all been quite significant. So on the bench, that will give Rodgers a number of substitute options to put on to change the game, or to maintain the lead, etc., or to rest players. And so on the bench, we should have players such as Forrest and Yang to cover the wide positions, Bernardo and Iawasa to covering the midfield positions, and Adam Ida as the additional or replacement striker. Tony Ralston will be on the bench, and in my lineup it would be Scales on the bench, although as I said earlier on, I suspect that Rodgers will go for Scales as a starter, and so for Rodgers, Nawrocki will be on the bench. In terms of a predicted result, I'm going for a 3-0 win for Celtic, particularly if we do go with Nawrocki and Carter Vickers in the middle as our main defenders. Dundee will be without Owen Beck, who's been quite a star for them at left back, and indeed was voted into the Players' Player of the Year team for the Scottish Premiership at left back. Also their captain, Shaughnessy, who is their main central defender. He's also going to be out on Sunday, and their manager, Doherty, is going to be in the stands, serving a touchline ban. So there are quite a lot of advantages for Celtic in terms of the way that Dundee are going to be managed and lining up on Sunday. So going to go for a 3-0 win for Celtic. I think the key, as always, is Celtic get on top, as they obviously did when they beat Dundee 7-1 at Celtic Park. We got an early goal, and then we added to that again, going into 6 goals by half time. I don't think we'll have a repeat of a 7-1 victory, but I'm going to go for a 3-0 win. And interestingly, Celtic have, in their last 6 games, scored 3 goals or more. We've scored 3 in our last 4 league fixtures, and 4 in our cup against Livingston, and then 3 against Aberdeen just last Saturday. And so this will be Celtic going for 7 games in a row with 3 or more goals in the game for Celtic. And I think this team against Dundee on Sunday is very much able to battle out a 3-0 win, which should keep us at least 3 points ahead in the league, and hopefully St Mirren can do us a wee favour in the early kick-off, and we can extend our lead going into the Hearts match the following weekend. Just a few other bits of news regarding Celtic. Sead Haksabanovic, who of course has been on loan at Stoke, has had a rather disappointing period on loan to Stoke. His goal output and assists have both been poor. He's struggled with injuries and has only actually played 21 games over his loan period at Stoke. He is not going to be bought by Stoke, as was the option with their loan deal, and instead he'll be coming back to Celtic. However, it doesn't look like Rodgers has any intention of keeping Haksabanovic in the first team setup, and so he is almost certainly on his way out. And it would appear that Celtic are looking for a £2 million fee for Haksabanovic in the summer, and there are said to be a number of teams keen on him, such as in his home country of Sweden. And one rather disappointing story in the news has been that Gustav Lagerbielke is talking about Brendan Rodgers not really speaking to him, not really engaging with him, and he's had no real close contact with Brendan Rodgers other than just the standard as part of training sessions. I find that very disappointing because I think Gustav Lagerbielke, personally, I think he's a very talented player. We have to remember last season in Sweden, he was the number one rated defender in the league and made his international debut for the full Swedish team, playing twice since he came to Celtic, and is a firm established member now of the full Swedish international squad. And I think he actually played well for the most part in his early career for Celtic, very much thrown at the deep end to cope with the misfortune of being sent off in the game against Feyenoord in Holland. That seemed to completely ruin his standing with Rodgers, who doesn't seem to have forgiven him ever since. And for me, it was very disappointing to see Rodgers recalling Lagerbielke basically from the airport when he was on his way to Italy on loan for the rest of the season with a view to permanent transfer. Rodgers recalled him because of Carter Vickers' injury situation, and then Lagerbielke, apart from a few minutes in one game, hasn't seen any time playing for Celtic and has been, apart from once, an unused sub the few times he's been put on the bench by Rodgers. I really hope that over the course of the summer, Lagerbielke's situation gets sorted out. Either he leaves the club to further his career, or Rodgers gives him a fair chance to establish himself as CCV's main partner. So that just about finishes things off for this afternoon. So just a wee reminder to like, subscribe and comment. And so for today, goodbye. Good luck Celtic on Sunday against Dundee, and hail, hail.